Did you know that Case and Huff and Schleter has been servicing customers in the tri-state area for nearly 100 years? As an independent insurance agency, they have the flexibility to find the right value for your business, farm, and personal insurance needs. Case and Huff and Schleter is a locally owned agency. Their agents and support team are ready to help. Give them a call or find them on Facebook. Case and Huff and Schleter, proud sponsor of the Muddy River News Business Spotlight. Welcome to another Muddy River News Business Spotlight, brought to you by Case and Huff and Schleter Insurance. My guest today is Eric Lee with Advanced Physical Therapy. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Advance has been a great partner with us here at Muddy River News and Sports, and we were glad we could get Eric alongside because he's the one who said he does all the work. So,
oh boy, get me in trouble now.
No, we are glad to have you. Either you or any of the guys or gals have been great. But busy time of the year for you guys. I assume year-round's busy for you guys.
It really is. I mean, usually, we always used to have kind of a cyclical thing where, depending on sports seasons and things like that. But really, our population that we treat now is so diverse that we really don't have a downtime necessarily. That we have upticks. And maybe a little bit of downtime from time to time, but really it's kind of unpredictable, and we've been very blessed to stay busy.
And you guys have this great opportunity to work with all these great young student athletes around our region. We have so many. I know you have deals with lots of different schools. How fulfilling is that for you guys to not only kind of whether it's training these kids or helping them or rehab or what have you, how fulfilling is it for you to see these kids, go from, kicking it around on the Quinsippy fields to eventually going into, and many of them getting college scholarships?
Oh, it's great. I mean, and just to see the look in their eyes, like I had a pitcher not too long ago, actually, that I spoke to, and I was able to clear him. He's going to throw 25 to 30 pitches tonight, and we're excited about that. And just to see the look in their eyes, just when they're allowed to do a little bit more and they have success with that. But then as they go on and as that junior high kid becomes a high schooler, and to see them develop physically, mentally, and just emotionally, and you grow closer to them, and it's great to see them go on, and like you said, in some cases even go on to the next level, the collegiate level.
And you talked about emotionally, because that when a kid is going along and having an all-star or an all-conference, an all-state season, and they get derailed by an injury, it's crushing. I know
it is, especially the first time that happens, and unfortunately we see that, and we're a part of it. And I think that's an opportunity that you can take to really bond with a kid, and to bring other elements into their life, and so that they know that yes, they might be a baseball player or they might be a soccer player, but they themselves are more than that. And so then you kind of dig a little bit into that, and you get to know them as a person. And so hopefully their body is stronger as they recover from the injury, but hopefully they're stronger as a person as well.
Back in the day, when you and I were much younger, watching baseball, and we'd see all these big, strong guys throwing 200 pitches every game, 38 starts, 250, 300 innings, stuck their arm in a bucket and came back, did it again 3-4 days later. Why can't people do that anymore?
Well, I think back in that time, we had diversification of an athlete, and so they might have been playing baseball during baseball season, but guess what? During baseball off season, they were playing football, or they were playing soccer, or they were playing basketball. And I think that has been a detriment in some cases because the body is just overused, and it's just a continual strain in the same patterns versus it's kind of goes back to the cross training mentality that we used to have, and so it's been great. It's raised the bar as far as the skill level in some situations where they've been able to train in the off season. But it's sometimes that specialization isn't necessarily a good thing to the extreme.
And I think from that perspective, it's not only that, it's also just the socialization. You're going to have different teammates on different teams. You're going to be able to do different things, go different places, have different opponents. And I just think that kids, I totally agree that when kids miss out on that, when they're like, okay, I'm going to just pitch, or I'm just going to do this because I think this is the best way, or in many cases, my parents think this is the best way for me to get a college scholarship.
Right, right. And you look at a kid, whether it's like a baseball thrower, just go back to that sport because it's easy to see. Like they're looking at the different what we call slot angles of a player. That person would get of their arm as they're throwing. As if they're in a backyard playing a bunch of different baseball positions, throwing different angles, different rules, different yards. You know how it used to be. They're going to be challenging their body in so many different ways versus just pitching or just being so specialized. So that's an important thing. And then the other thing is that when you mention parents, they've become all of a sudden they're friends with the travel team parents of that kid's team, and so then it just becomes it grows further and further and further. So all of a sudden, little Johnny doesn't want to play the sport anymore. All of a sudden, it's like that's a lot of pressure to stay with it because all of a sudden, hey, we've invested a lot of money in you. And then also, hey, we're friends with so-and-so's parents. Mm-hmm. We've got to stay on a team, or what are we going to do?
Well, and again, though, it all, as it should, always just boil down to what's going to be best for the kid.
Absolutely. It comes down to it. It's just a game. I mean, a lot of the athletics that we're seeing great high levels of athletics, boys, girls, men's, women's, and it's fantastic to see. But when it comes down to it, a lot of the athletes that we see, and I think NCAA has a commercial that talks about that, is that they're going to go pro in something else, right?
Oh, yeah.
That a lot of times you're playing sports at the YMCA or Quincy Park District or wherever you might play sports at, and it's to learn how to be a team player in an office one day or in a classroom with other kids, and so that's important to realize that, yeah, you're going to have success on a field, but the success after the field is long gone. That's the important thing.
And I think you're really onto something because, obviously, athletes are in better condition than they were 40 years ago. Especially, Major League Baseball players showed up at spring training. They used spring training to get into shape. Now, athletes show up, and they're in shape, and they're ready to go. But still, we have more injuries today when these athletes are more finely tuned than we had 40 years ago.
Right. And it's challenging, and so, when that kid is so set on one sport, and then that sport is taken away from them temporarily. Like I said, they lose their whole identity, and that's a big factor that we try to really relate to that person and bond with them while they're on our treatment table or in our treatment gym.
Do you guys use the therapy of dipping the elbow in the pickle juice?
Sometimes. We bring that out for old guys like you, Bob.
I would definitely need that. For my feet, I get bunions. That's a bad thing. So let's talk a little bit about the business in general. You guys, when it comes to keeping up, I know, with your partnerships through Blessing, you guys are state-of-the-art and everything, and you guys have expanded to so many locations. How has that allowed you to better serve customers and clients?
Yeah, one of the big things is, there's four of us partners in the business, and three of us are full-time clinicians, and we've remained full-time clinicians. And that's, I think, extremely important because I still have probably more of a passion for my practice as a physical therapist than I did 20 years ago. And I am enjoying myself as a physical therapist more now than I ever have. And I think that's been really, really important. The business structure that we have has allowed us to do that. And so that we've been on the cutting edge as far as therapy, but then we've also been leaders within the clinic that, we can grow with our staff and continue to be right in the trenches.
And you are reiterating that you're the hardest working of the partners.
Well, we'll talk about that later, maybe.
I'm gonna get you to say that. I want to hear one of the other guys say something. And in that vein, it's not only that, but it's also, all you guys are from the area. You're all local guys. You took this business and created it locally and then came up with other partnerships and did expansions and stuff. And you guys have great pride from being from here and, of course, from over in the river, across the river, of being local guys who've really made this thing happen.
Absolutely. Whether we sponsor a sports team or, a facility or whatever we have, that just brings, it's nice to see, that the fact that we're able to be part of the community and the part of the community that I was born in.
And you guys are also sponsors of our inaugural showcase basketball game, the Muddy River Showcase, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be, Matt, I know, Matt, that is an event that, previously was close to his heart, and he was very thankful that you guys and several other partners worked with us to make that happen again. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Honored to do so.
And it's going to be here like in a month. So every time we have a meeting, like every other week, we meet with Brad Hoyt and all these guys. What do we got to do? What do we got to do? And Matt, of course, having done this for years before, he's like, don't worry, it'll come together. I've never been on the inside of one of these things, so I'm like, it's kind of like, well, are we okay? Are we okay? And then trying to work in other aspects of the company as well. But again, we thank you guys for that. So with all the expansion, where are all of your current locations?
We have the 2 in Quincy, and we have in Hannibal, Monroe City, Bowling Green, Canton, Missouri. We go down to Troy, Missouri, and Lebanon, Missouri. Then we're over to Chatham, Illinois, Carthage, Illinois, Keokuk, Iowa, Chatham, Illinois, and Manteno, Illinois. And I believe that's all. If I'm missing any, I apologize.
Well,
off the top of my head.
When I was working over in Springfield, I think that's when you guys opened your Chatham facility. I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are coming over here now. And again, I think
it's Pittsfield.
Can't forget
about
Pittsfield. Don't forget about the sausages.
That's right.
I mean, come on.
That's right.
I know this is, Quincy is the headquarters, if you will, but still, any of your other facilities, you guys can facilitate and give those patients the care that they need and deserve, right?
Absolutely. We try to, at least once a year, we bring in a continuing education speaker, like a national speaker, and we just did that in March of this year. And so all of the therapists are invited to come back to Quincy and to have the session with the speaker, but it also provides an opportunity to just meet everybody and to try to just collaborate, just to share ideas, share knowledge that we might have picked up at another course. And then we also really are committed to sending people off to different courses throughout the year, and we just bring that back to our clinics. So, quality care just remains number one.
And your it's like any other profession with technology and time. You always want to have better practices, but again, you always want to have the best practice. So, just because you did something the way you did it 10 years ago, you're not doing it that way today.
No, absolutely. And it's like I told you, I'm having more fun now than I am than I ever have in my practice. And I go back. When I started as a therapist, I was lucky to have Greg Reese as my mentor. And I was able to learn so much from him. And then he'd look over to see maybe the new kid had learned something at a course, so he'd try to just say, hey, what are you doing there? And we'd go back and forth. And then now, unfortunately, I don't work in the same facility as Greg anymore. We're both in the 2 different Quincy offices, but now we do that on a different level.
Sure.
We talk all the time, and then also we do that between the different therapists within our own clinics. So that continues.
Well, in order to make up for you taking credit for being the hardest worker, go ahead and mention who all your other partners are as well.
Yeah. Greg Reese, who obviously has been in the area his whole life as well. And then Jason Stratton, who Jason is kind of runs our business side. He's our president, if you will, on the business side. And his wife Natalie is one of the therapists, obviously well known as well. And then Chad Faulkner, who is a Hannibal guy. He's a Missouri guy, and so he's practicing as well. And the 4 of us are the partners.
Well, again, no. And how many employees total now?
I'd have to
ballpark. You can ballpark it.
Probably. I'm going to say probably within all the clinics, part time, everything, probably about 125.
Well,
something
again,
like that.
Again, we thank you for being a part of this community, being one of our sponsors, and just most importantly, being a small business in today's climate to help provide jobs and, again, to help kind of make our area a great place to live, work, and thrive.
Well, we've been very blessed and blessed with the opportunity to sit down with you today, for sure.
All right. Eric Lee with Advanced Physical Therapy. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
That's all the time we have for our Muddy River News Business Spotlight. I'm Bob Goff. Have a great week. Representing nearly 20 A-rated insurance providers, Case and Huff and Schlieder caters to most any type of insurance. Business, farm, home, auto, and health for nearly 100 years. Their team of experienced professionals is second to none in providing coverage for your insurance needs. Case and Huff and Schlieder will find the most cost-effective solution to your business challenges, and with their experienced agents, they know how to navigate the insurance markets. 100 years, an agency built on service, no matter what side of the river you call home. Give them a call today or find them on Facebook. Case and Huff and Schlieder, peace of mind since 1923.